Hello and welcome to the aftermath of the West Ham game. So we're going to have a couple of reactions, talk through the game, but I do have some news. Now, I haven't told you through this, but I thought I'd leave it.
Okay.
We've been, as you guys know, but people might not, we've been talking to a company called Big Heads Media who are trying to display us to podcasting. They've now put us on their network for footballing. So it's under BHM, Big Heads Media, soccer.com. Go and see us under there. They've got our links to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, and they're also in the works of making merch for us as well. So if you want to see some Saints Prime merch...
Wait, what?
Yeah. They're in the work. So I've been talking to them, and they want to see if they can get some merch out for us. They'll sort it out. They'll do it for us. And if you want to make it, if you want to purchase it, it will help us continue the podcast, and you get to wear some sweet Saints Prime merch as well. So what a win. So yeah, big shout out to the guys at Big Heads Media Podcasting Network. Go and check it out, see if you can see us on there, and go from there. But we're going to go into some reactions now.
See, not only have we lost 1-0, we're also sellouts.
So, well, not sellouts, mate.
Welcome back to the Saints Prime podcast.
I think that's good news. I think that's good news.
Everybody's a bit confused. We signed on to a podcasting company. They're going to help us expand our brand.
Exactly.
And we're not just do Saints, because we have a very limited audience and we want to expand that and get people listening. We're not sellouts like Harry said.
Not sellout. Well, that's what Tiz is thinking about, the money. We're not worried about that. No, we're not getting paid yet. Well, we'll move on to Saints. So after the game, obviously a disappointing result for us. I put out onto the Saints Prime account your reactions, one-word reactions. We did get some word reactions, which we probably won't be able to read out, but we got some other ones as well. Tiz, are you able to find them out, or do you want me to go through
I'll bash them up whilst we're
bash them up while you can. So yeah. So it's on our Instagram at Saints Prime. I'll put it on after the games to get your reactions on there, and then we can read them out here. So Tiz, if you can go through a few of them.
So we've got can't say that, can't say that, can't say that. Pathetic, shafted, lackluster, awful, diabolical, embarrassing, can't say that, not good enough, all with one word.
Say the name.
Interesting.
Who is it?
So we've got Alexi, Stephen M, still Stephen Moss, Leo Futcher, Alex Venny, Stand White, someone said Championship, Ash said Championship, Usual from Dan Hurst 96.
Yes, Dan Hurst gets in there.
Hoiberg with a not so pleasant emoji from Aston Daily 10.
That's something we'll cover in a minute about Hoiberg.
Jake.Young says spineless. And
there's a last one as well. Ethan_Ling15 said Ralph needs to go, he said. So another thing that I put as well, just to see if that's the overall majority, which I didn't think it was, but I put a poll out. So we got 172 answers to that question. 120 people said no, it's not time for Ralph to go. But interesting, 52 people said yes, it's time for Ralph to go.
Those 52 people are uneducated in football, it seems.
Uneducated in football. Well, it seems like it's again another loss at home. Should Ralph still be given his time? What are your guys' thoughts?
It's come to a situation where it's not the manager's fault anymore. It literally is down to the players. In my opinion, that is anymore. I do agree there's a limit sometimes where it's a manager's issue, where it's his problem, it's his fault. Well, I do not believe it is his problem anymore. It's just the players he has been left with from the mixed managers have been in the club. And sometimes a mess can't be fixed.
You reckon? Right, Tiz, what are your thoughts? Ralph still needs his time, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think today's game was more about seeing if we're beyond relegation candidates and more of a mid-table sides. But I think today just has shown more that I think this season will just be about battling relegation. I don't think today was a must-win. As much as a lot of people see it like that, like there's still plenty of the season. Next week, fair enough, that is a must-not-lose at the absolute minimum. But I think he should be given more time. But there's definitely things he does need to pick up very quickly, otherwise he will have to go.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where it's make or break at the moment. And although Ralph is a very good manager, I hate to say it, but it seems like if his tactics are too complex for the quality of squad we have, it may be that we have to try and find someone that can simplify it down. Unless Ralph can try and simplify it down, just try and get something out of this horrible mismatch of underperforming players. But you've got to look at the fact and say our number one priority at the moment is to stay up. And we need to do that somehow in any means we can. Do we back Ralph in January and say, right, money, quality is coming in January, or are we saying this managerial style is not working for us at the moment? It's up to the board. I hope we back Ralph, and if it was me, I'd be saying Ralph is the best manager we've seen in the last half a decade. So put that money where he wants it and sort that team out. But are you guys on the same line, along the same lines as that?
I think it's quite. I think it's quite. What's the word that I'm trying to think of?
Don't know.
I think it's very narrow-minded to say that it's all down to the players, because there's one man that sends them out in the formation that he wants and the way that he wants them to play, and that is Ralph. Yeah. And if the players can't play the way that he wants to play, he has to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Until January or until the next summer, because there's no point in us trying to play a way that we can't play. Like, I completely understand that we want high pressing football and we want to keep the ball high, but today there was little to no pressing. That's because West Ham didn't give us a chance to press. West Ham just played one ball over the top. As soon as any of their defenders got it, it was one ball lumped over the top, because they knew that were going to get caught out by us pressing. So the fact that we couldn't press high, that caused the problems. And just a long ball ruined us today.
Yeah. It seemed that we got caught out. Mikey, you were at the game. We always ask you. Tiz, how did you see it? It was on TV. Did you go and watch it on TV?
Yeah, on TV, in the sports bar. Yeah.
Jamie, did you get a chance to watch it?
I saw the quick Sky Sports highlights.
Yeah,
miserable.
Yeah, I saw. I'm not going to go into why I didn't see the first half, but let's just say I was not a happy boy on why I didn't see it. I did manage to catch the second half, and again, not a great. I said to you boys at the start, it was not a great second half, but you seem to say that first half was even worse. So
yeah,
we'll go. Should we go chronologically? Go for it again. I've also nabbed some of the points off. Is it Carl Anker, the athletic reporter for Southampton? He did a really good job of summarising the game, what the feeling was like at the game there. Because I wasn't there, but he put on a really good opinion. I think some of the times, some of the reports are kind of difficult to get the feeling of the match, but he did really well of actually getting the opinions of the match. So I'll run through them quickly and kind of go through how he said the key points as it started. So the first point was, or the first kind of part, obviously start of the game, the lineup pretty much the same, wasn't it? Or exactly
it was the same.
Yeah,
it was the same. But Armstrong came onto the bench and had a boo foul. I think that was literally the only change.
Yeah, and I was quite happy to see Armstrong in, because I think he had a good. He affects the team well, and I think near the end of the game, we'll cover that later, but I think he did make a little bit of an impact when he came on. Now, the interesting thing, and we mentioned it, I think Mikey said that Antonio was injured, but he did make the squad this time, as well as Haller up front, so they went for a 4-4-2. Now, Haller and Antonio up front, both of them together, posed a little bit more of a difficulty to me. I thought that looked a little bit more dangerous, because obviously Haller has a bit of quality, Antonio is good in the air, and two up front looks like they're going for this game. Obviously, Pellegrini's manager career depended on it, and it looked like they were going for it. Tis?
In previous games, they've played a 4-4-1-1 system. I think it's the first time in a long time they've played two up front. Yeah. Especially when I looked at their Twitter just to see what their reaction was to Anderson not being in the squad. There wasn't a word. No one even commented about that, probably because they were in news, to be fair. But everyone was like, two up front, finally, first time in 3 months, let's go. That did seem to really, really pay off against us. Antonio absolutely dominated us, which
he looked really
quite a problem today, because he always plays really well against us, and I don't know if that's a reflection of him or we can't handle him very well. But he was the real difference maker for them today, frustratingly.
Yeah, Jamie, your kind of thoughts? You saw the highlights, but what are your overall impressions, kind of seeing the game today?
Like Harry said, Antonio's a beast of a player. And I think he was unlucky to get his goal. No, he was unlucky for the ball to deflect and hit his hand.
Yeah.
I think that was an amazing bit of work.
Yeah, he did really well for that goal, and it got ruled out.
And can I just say, we missed out on signing him back in the day. when he was on loan at us.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's just a shame. Sebastian Haller finally got a goal, and I know it wasn't his first goal, but his first one in a while.
In over 10 hours. Over
10 hours.
10 hours of football.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like I can't really comment too much on it where I didn't actually watch it. So unfortunately, I did a 9.5 hour shift at work.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it's just a shame.
It does seem like if you're on a goal scoring drought and you're really
Come to Saints and we'll
just
give you a couple of goals.
Come down to Southampton and you'll get a goal. You know, that's how it works.
That's what concerns me the most, though, because we weren't able to get any points out of an out of form Tottenham. We didn't beat Arsenal when they were out of form, and now we've beaten a team that if they even drew, Pellegrini would have probably got sacked. That is a concern that I have, that we're struggling against teams that are supposedly out of form and poor.
Yeah. I think it seems like we always kind of say it that we come at a bad time, but Pellegrini was on his last straws today, wasn't he? And it looked like we get a result and he's out. So whether he was able to actually fire up his squad to get him a result for him, or whether just the fact that we were just so poor today that they ended up eventually prevailing through, I'm not too sure. But it looked like if we had a better chance at any, it was today, and it didn't happen again. Another worrying sign. But yeah, let's go back to it. Mikey, you can go through this. I don't know if it showed on the highlights. It seemed like West Ham had an early offside goal from a free kick.
Three minutes in, it was
Declan Rice.
Yeah, Rice was offside from a free kick, and it was just a sign of things to come. It really should have been a wake-up call for the lads out there, but they didn't take it as that. You know, it was unmarked. I know, like, we were trying to keep a line, and apparently there was a lot of them offside. It wasn't just Rice. There was like 4 or 5 of them that were offside, but it should have been a wake-up call that they were going to come at us, and the lads didn't take it as that.
No, and another thing as well, Cole Anker definitely talked about how West Ham were dominating first 20 minutes up to the 20-minute mark. You know, really kind of putting their foot down onto the game, and kind of taking their hold of the game in away from home. Was that the kind of impression you got as well, Mikey?
Every single time they came forward, they looked like we were going to score. Yeah. It was terrifying to watch. Haller and Antonio were causing so many problems for Benedict and Stevens.
Yeah.
Højbjerg wasn't really sitting back. He had an awful game today.
Yeah.
He was awful. And I understand that he's the captain and everything, but even the captain can be taken off the pitch. Yeah. So I would take him off instead of Redmond.
Yeah. Can you talk us through? So Shane Long had a little bit of a chance after that, kind of 25 minutes onwards. Was that a half chance?
It was a slight header, but it looped quite a lot, and Martin had it covered. He found that quite easy.
Next thing I've got down here, Jack Stevens really angry with the midfield being pushed up too high. What did you kind of see from that?
Well, I mean, it was just Højbjerg and Ward-Prowse being caught up high.
Right, yeah.
Neither one of them was sitting against Watford and against Norwich. It looked like Højbjerg was the one sitting and Ward-Prowse was the one up. But Højbjerg was making quite a few mistakes, so I don't know if he was trying to like press higher and try and like help.
Cut it out early.
Yeah. And it just left such a massive gap in the middle.
Tiz,
every single time the ball came forward, it was a 2-on-2. We didn't actually have any support.
Tiz, did you notice that gap in midfield around the start of the first half?
It's difficult because neither team really used the midfields that much. A lot of the time, the ball was played down the wings over the top, but there was quite a gap. To be fair, I don't know why, because in the past few games they've played well, so I don't know why that was at all, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Redmond and Ginappa were also caught too high up the pitch.
It
didn't look like we were playing 4-4-2. It looked like we were playing 4-2-4, and Redmond and Ginappa were just so high up the pitch they weren't offering anything.
Yeah.
That was the problem. We had no options. Our only option was to go long or to pass around the back. And either option, the fans were getting annoyed, which doesn't help either. You know, you get angry when you try and keep the ball, and then when you lose the ball, you get even angrier.
Yeah. a hostile environment. And do you think Ralph was saying, right, we're going for first goal? Do you think it was a lack of fitness, a lack of ambition? What did it come across to you guys when you were watching the game in the first half?
Confidence and effort.
Confidence and effort. Was it that idea again of kind of not wanting to make a mistake in the fact that you know the fans are going to be on your back at home? Do you think they are now nervous to make mistakes? Is that an issue that's coming into their game now?
Yeah.
Well, the main issue is that both teams knew how important the game was, and neither of them wanted to overcommit. But the problem is, West Ham have a lot more quality going forward overall than us. I'd rather have Danny Ings than either of their forwards. But if Danny Ings is the only one actually putting in the hard yards, making those chances, then I'd rather have their front line just because of the amount of effort they've put in. Like I said earlier, Antonio is the one that's really making things happen, whereas if you've only got Danny Ings, Redmond was quite ineffective. Gineppo first half especially was ineffective, and Shane Long didn't get the chance to get on the ball in the first place, so he couldn't really do anything there. So it's frustrating, but in the end, just got what we deserve from a poor first half performance. There's no point in the game that we really troubled. Just as a whole, what was it? His fourth Premier League appearance, and I can't remember a difficult save that he's had to make for the whole game.
No,
I know he hit the bar in the post a couple of times. But
the most difficult it got for him was Walker-House's free kick, and that went straight at him.
So, and that was about 35 yards out.
Another clean sheet for him, wasn't
it? So next thing I kind of said from there, so I've commented about Jack Stevens angry with his lack of cover in midfield. And then we have a West Ham VAR check for a... was it a penalty?
Yeah.
Antonio and Haller kind of colliding together.
What does in the highlights, it's just a big bundle of mess on each side of the team, really. They all just crashed into each other.
I think
it originated from Bertrand not clearing the ball. He had two men on him, and he tried to turn both of them instead of just putting it out for a throw-in.
That's like the most most Bertrand thing ever.
And so he was caught out, and then he tried to recover. And in all fairness, he looked like he had every single body part being held by Antonio. It looked like he had fouled him, and it should have been a penalty. But I don't know if the cross was poor, and that's the reason why. But it did look like
there's a bit of an elbow in the back by Bertrand on Haller. First impression, I thought that could be a penalty. And I think it was one of those that if the referee gave it first off, it might have been given because of that subjectivity rule or whatever they call it. But there wasn't a lot in it. But I've seen them given, and it was a bit of a clumsy challenge at the end of the day.
True. Next thing we've got on here, so we've had the VAR check, obviously showing West Ham building a bit of pressure. Haller's goal coming next. Now, I haven't actually had a chance to have a look at it yet, but can you guys kind of describe it through what happens?
It's pretty... quite nice.
I think I might be getting two chances messed up. I'm not too sure because I've only seen it the once, and that was live, so you don't really recall everything. But I think it came from Højbjerg missing the ball. He miscontrolled the ball. He didn't even touch the ball on the halfway line, and he caused a foul. And I think West Ham played quite direct from that. And Antonio did well, kept the ball in, and I think there were some murmurs of the ball going out of play. And it looked like the squad maybe stopped a little bit or just lost concentration. And then it was just a very well-worked goal from West Ham. Still cross, but good ball into the box. Cedric lost his man at the back post. Not a cross goal, and no one was on Haller. A £35 million striker, is he?
Yeah, who plays on the Europa League football last year.
And none of our centre-backs decided that they wanted to mark him. Højbjerg decided that he didn't want to mark him. No.
Half volleys.
I think it's quite simple, and it was a good finish as well. McCarthy could not got down.
For that when it's posting in, there's no chance for the goalkeeper. Not even I'll complain about McCarthy's goalkeeping for that bit because there's nothing you can do.
I thought apart from that, he had a good game.
Highlights.
Yeah,
a couple of fantastic.
Yeah, it did seem like people were saying McCarthy had a very good game today.
Yeah.
Again, shot stopping looked like he did very well today. I think it's Yeah, that penalty's just a bundle, really. Yeah, I think shot stopping wise, I think McCarthy does very well. He showed it when we were trying to stay up the season before, and today he's got it in his locker to be able to pull off some good saves when we need it. So after the Haller goal, it seems like it just goes into half time, really, kind of get to the end of the half.
Players
and then
are booed off at half time.
Yeah, booed off at half time. Well, it's at St Mary's.
Yeah. If you're not winning, you get booed.
yeah.
Still get booed off at half time.
But we're looking at the fact that we've gone into half time and we've got a substitution straight away after half time. Romeu coming on for Redmond. Did Redmond have particularly of a bad game? Do you think Romeu was called to try and get some defensive work in that midfield? What's the thinking there?
I think Redmond or Gineppo would have come off. I don't think. I thought personally that Redmond was having a better game than Gineppo was.
Right.
At the time, Gineppo made a couple of decent runs and got on the ball quite a bit in the second half. But I thought Redmond was having a better game. He looked the more confident. He looked like he wanted to take players on. I think it was quite unfortunate, but the change needed to happen because our midfielders are being overrun. Yeah. And it's really weird in saying that because they were just playing 4. They matched us up.
Mm.
And
so it's just man for man. They're better for us, really.
Yeah, and we looked like we had they looked like they had extra men all over the pitch, and somehow that just keeps happening to us. We can look like we've got 2 or 3 less players on the pitch than they do, whatever opposition we're playing, which is terrifying in all fairness. 'Cause,
it doesn't look good for us, does it? In the fact that man for man, and we're getting outbeaten by a side and a manager who is being. It's his last chance to get something out of this team, and he's performing us off the pitch. It's quite worrying that that's a manager who's one game away from being sacked, and he can still outclass us in the first half.
Yeah.
But we're now in the second half, and things do start to pick up. The Antonio goal gets called off. We covered this a little bit. He basically just kind of powers through, but it's hit his hand on a rebound from a challenge, and he puts it in the back of the net. It's a tough call, but it saved us. Do you think that was the right decision, or do you think we were lucky on that regard?
It's the right decision to keep our goal difference down.
Yeah,
but it's unlucky. It's unlucky on his behalf. I wouldn't have complained too much if they didn't rule it out for VAR because it was. Like I said, it was kind of
hit his hand, and his new handball thing is if it hits any other hand, it's a foul. So we're not going to complain in that regard. But again, should be another wake-up call that they can damage us.
I turned to my mum at the game and just said, that is incredibly unlucky. Because and it was just so, he did very well with the ball, but it was just so simple for him. Just to run through. I think he got past 4 challenges from our defenders. It was just sort of they all lined up one-on-one, and he just defeated them every single time. Yeah. In the challenge, he was stronger, he was quicker.
Yeah, brilliant.
He wanted it more. And the finish was incredibly good as well.
Brilliant.
I think McCarthy could have done about it.
It's gone over the top. Now, who was their number 18? Because he looked like he had a brilliant shot. He had a good shot against McCarthy that he had to put over the crossbar as well. But he's flicked it over to Antonio. He's beaten the first man shoulder to shoulder, knocked it past the second, which I think was Bednarak, and then just basically walked past Cedric like he wasn't there and kind of lunged it and put it into the bottom corner, which, again, like you've just said there, a brilliant finish on his regard, and he must be kicking himself that it's got disallowed. But we'll take that all day, a disallowed goal. Because again, it gives us another chance. But that is again the final warning. The fact that we've had 2.
It was our second wake-up call.
Yeah, and we do finally start trying to actually perform something. This is when I actually saw this for myself. Ings, out of a kind of nothing volley, smacks it and hits it off the crossbar and just bounce out. Looks like a.
The one that Shane Long missed, rebound.
Shane Long was offside and he hit the side as well. But
was he offside?
Yeah, he was offside.
It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. So he was just putting it to the side to make it easier. But yeah, questionable on whether Shane Long should be doing a little bit better on the rebound there. He was offside anyway.
I don't think there's any question about it.
He should be better there. It's either you have the composure to bring the ball down, or you got to get it on target.
he kind of waited it for him to drop, and the West Ham players, almost gave him a bit too much time in the fact that he came down and was able to kind of connect on it.
And,
not a great connection, admittedly,
not a great connection.
but could take a volley. I was thinking he might have gone for a header there, or at least attacked it a bit more. But hey, that one goes back. We've had a chance.
I just want the only way we're staying up this year if Danny Ings scores.
Yeah.
He is the best player we have by far.
By a mile. By an absolute mile.
Incredible player, and it's a shame that we don't have any like him, and it's a shame that if we do go down this year, he's not going to be it because every single Premier League club, even clubs in the top 6, will want Danny Ings because he's shown this season that like he still has it. He still has it. Why he moved to Liverpool? He still has it.
Definitely. Oh, definitely. And the reason we got him for that price is because of his injury worries, and if he can stay fit and he can get up to, the amount that we're looking for in a striker. Then
he could easily hit 15 to 20 goals this season.
Yeah. If he keeps his form going and he stays out of injury, he could do amazing for us.
It's a shame he's for us because he could be in the England squad by the end of the year.
Well, he'd have to be in top 6 for that, wouldn't he? But me and Tiz were talking a couple of podcasts back in the fact that we were saying that we want to kind of rest Ings just to make sure that there's no injury things that prevail. Mikey's saying he's too important for us to drop him. And just showing today, he was our only real threat up front, wasn't he? I mean, and the red-hot form that he's on at the moment, the next point I've got down here, Danny Ings worldie that he... Apparently there's a foul in the build-up,
even before that, he smacked the right-hand post.
By just being offside, wasn't he? But again,
I think VAR would have given it onside because I think he was marginally on.
Really?
From my view, I thought it was at least marginally on.
Ollie,
this is the thing. This is the thing with VAR. Linesmen are told that if they're not sure, don't stick the flag up, and then refs are told to not blow up.
Yeah.
And so we could have been. It's a bit like the Villa goal against Palace. Like I think it was right at the start of the season. Grealish was said that he dived when he didn't, and the ball went through. And they scored, but
Lansbury smashed it in.
Yeah, because the ref blew up, it was not given, and that could be the difference between Villa staying up at the season and not. And I know it will take time for everyone to learn what it is and what they're supposed to be doing. But if Danny Ings scores there and he's onside, and the ref blows up before the goal goes in, the goal's not given.
Yeah, it's true, and we saw it with Shelvey as well, didn't he? He went through and put it bottom corner, and he had it was a credit to him that he played on and didn't stop because the Sheffield United defenders, United, it was, just stopped, didn't play to the whistle, but Shelvey had the initiative to go on and hit it, and he got the reward for that. But it shouldn't be that difficult, should it? It should really be. Go on, Tiz.
In all fairness to the linesman, I think they are told to put it. I think they're told to put the flag up, but not like down, as in terms of they can signal that they believe it was offside. I know it's a subconscious thing that if you see it go up, you should stop. But to be fair, I think they are told to put it up just to make the referee aware that, oh, look, I think this is offside, but they don't actually put it down to show, right, give this is offside sort of thing.
But next season, I honestly don't think... would it be better? It's just a question being put out there. I know it probably wouldn't happen. Would it be better if linesmen didn't do offside anymore and they only did throw-ins?
Or just didn't have a flag?
Because if the VAR if the VAR is going to be done for every single offside, then what's the point in even having the linesman doing the offside in the first place?
Yeah,
I think it's for
I think it's for the obvious ones, but then obviously subjective. But obviously subjective. It depends what some people think are obvious and some isn't.
I think it's difficult. But yeah, let's get back on to... So Danny Ings goes through a couple and puts it absolute top corner.
Yeah.
Apparently the whistle went just before for...
Yeah. The whistle went... It was a foul. Gineppo was pulling back on one of the West Ham players when he was trying to clear it.
Mm.
Wait.
I don't think he was.
Turned around, put it top corner.
Wait, they didn't show them the highlights.
I I thought it was very close. I didn't think it was too much of a foul. Obviously, a
No, I
brilliant
didn't
finish,
either.
but
I don't. I haven't seen it back, but the fact that I saw Gineppo do it, I looked to the ref, and the ref had the whistle at his lips to blow up for the foul. So that's I didn't celebrate. I didn't think it was a goal because I knew that the ref was going to blow up as soon as Ings touched the ball.
yeah.
And it wasn't like Ings scored and then he blew up. It was like Ings touched the ball before he even turned and had a shot. He touched the ball and he blew up for it.
I mean, they didn't even show the highlight for the Danny Ings chance, I don't think.
Yes,
They just
I
showed...
have no idea about.
It was an absolute banger, honestly.
Yeah, it was amazing. If you can watch it back from somewhere, go and have a look at it.
It was on Twitter. I don't know who put it up, but it was on Twitter. I think if you just type in Ings, it should come.
It reminds me of a kind of goal that Mane would score against us kind of thing. That thing that he's running inside, curls it and gets it that top corner. If that makes sense. The kind of goals that...
Oh!
What a scene.
Yeah, it's a peach.
Yeah, we'll try and retweet it for Saints Prime. Go and have a look at us on Saints Prime Pod on Twitter, and Jamie's going to retweet it for you now. So go and have a look on Twitter for it, and he'll try and put it up for you. But yeah, so the Danny Ings worldie gets called off, and then what have we got there? A little interlinking play between Stevens and Højbjerg to go 1-on-1. It looked like Stevens was 1-on-1, but then decided to pull it back for some reason, and it kind of got cluttered again. Bit of confidence should be really put in that way.
I think it's also due to the fact that he's a centre back and he's not usually caught in those sorts of situations. He gets
a bit worried, but
and he had one a little later on as well. It was Højbjerg and Stevens as well, and they had a little interchange. Stevens was literally on the edge of the box, and the shot went up for a throw-in.
That one as well. He got pulled back, and that one went back. So I got there Stevens for Højbjerg 1-on-1. And Stevens heading towards inside the box, heading towards the 6-yard line, and just cuts it back to the penalty spot. And obviously, a West Ham person clears it. Yeah. Again, not just being confident and having a go when you can.
It's decision making too. In any other situation, he would have a shot there. I don't understand why he's passed it. Surely you see the goal, you see the 6-yard box, and you're thinking, might as well hit it.
Yeah.
But I think, in my right mind, it's might as well hit it. I don't know what he's thinking at that point. I think there may have been 2 or 3 Southampton players in the box, so if he does get the cut back right, there is someone to slot it home. But you might as well test the goalkeeper. He hasn't been tested throughout the entire game. You might as well try and test him at least.
Yeah.
I think Jack Stevens becomes a hero if he scores. Sorry, Harry.
That's fine. I just think none of our players, apart from Ings, want to take that responsibility on. That's the problem. I think it's only Ings that has the confidence to take those sorts of shots on. Everyone else wants to play it into the box and let someone else head it in or head it towards the goal or take a shot inside. I only believe it's Ings that has that confidence to take a shot that not everyone would, and quite clearly by the fact that 7 or 8 of our last 13 goals have come from him.
Yeah.
And out of the last 13, it's only come from 3 different players, and only one goal of that was actually from Bertrand. It shows that only a handful of players actually want to take that responsibility and go, I have a shot from here, and I'll take the consequences if it doesn't go in.
Yeah. Very true, very true. Next thing I've got here is Armstrong for long substitution. I thought Armstrong did quite well when he came on. He had a little burst down the right, and I think he put... Who did he put through? I think it was it Stevens or Højbjerg? He put down the side, a couple of 1-2s, and just lifting it over the West Ham legs challenge. I thought he looked quite good on the ball when he came on for the last kind of 5 minutes. Did you guys kind of get that same impression, or is that me just defending Armstrong?
I think Armstrong's a bit like... I see so much potential in Armstrong.
I think he looks
like if he can make a difference in any team. And it's a real shame that Ralph hasn't really given him his opportunity. And it's a shame that when he did get him an opportunity and he did play well, he got injured. So I think he deserves a start the next game. I think it just depends on the opposition, really. Because, who have you got next? Is it...
I have a guess.
The game we're all going to, Mike.
Villa. Yeah.
Our next game's Villa.
I'm really tired.
Yeah.
But against Villa, like it will be interesting to see how he starts, what players he puts out there, because there are a couple tonight that sort of shown that they probably don't deserve to start, and there's a couple tonight that shown that they do deserve a place in the team.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, boys, who would you have in your starting 11 against Aston Villa?
It depends on fitness.
Depends on fitness.
If we could get Valerie back for next game, I'd just put him in just on a way to tell Cedric that his place isn't guaranteed. Because honestly, I think Cedric I just don't think he's interested.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to do the bare minimum not to lose his value. It's punts just straight up down the line. It's nothing of flair, nothing inspiring. I
didn't think Cedric played that badly tonight. I thought Cedric did well, but I think the problem with Cedric is that because he's such a liability height-wise, he gets targeted.
Yeah.
And the problem, if you stick Cedric next to a couple of good centre backs, then he's covered. Like he can do his job. He can do his job down the right, and he can have his freedom to do it down the right because he's proved it with Van Dijk and Fonte. He's proved how good he can be. Mm-hmm. But the problem is when you've got Stevens and Bednarek, you've got two players that you don't actually know what you're going to get out of them. No. Bednarek could have a stormer one week and he could be shocking the next. Stevens is easy, like he's got an easy mistake in him.
Yeah,
like I think he showed it today. He had a half sideways pass that went straight to the feet of Mark Noble and they counter-attacked. And obviously his shot wasn't fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it is. So you're always caught in two minds as a fullback, whether to bomb on or because your centre-backs aren't great, whether just cover for them. And that's the problem. When Bertrand and Cedric are caught in the two minds to try and like do a run or do a cross or get forward, they've always got the fact that Stevens and Bednarek aren't completely reliable and they're not like really relied on.
Yeah. And as a striker yourself, Mikey, you'd be noticing there that someone like I don't know why you're laughing at that, mate. He's clinical.
I scored.
Oh, Mikey!
Right.
I think you mentioned Solent then, mate.
Let me speak. Come on. So what I was saying is, you're looking at that lineup and you're seeing, if you're Antonio, you're going to be looking at that centre back. If you're getting in between the lines between Cedric and Stevens, you know that Cedric is not going to provide any sort of defensive capabilities from a header, and you're just going to slip right in between that centre back. The Stevens is going to be looking around thinking Cedric's going to get him, but Cedric's just not going to win that header. You think Antonio, if he targets his play on the left-hand side today, up front, he can get in between those lines. And we saw Antonio burn Cedric for pace as well. So if he can be beaten for pace, he can be beaten for headers, and he's not providing any sort of outlet. I think, although he didn't make any, particular mistakes for today, I think all three of those things were just against him, and it just meant, probably out of no fault of his own, it just meant he couldn't get into the game, and he wasn't providing anything for us at right back. And I think that's an issue. If someone's just there not providing, that's an issue, because you need everyone on that pitch to be doing something to make this team work and to get something out of the game.
I just find it quite funny that from WhoScored.com, they're a website that sort of analyse games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They've actually got Cedric as our best player tonight.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He got a 7.3.
Really?
He doesn't help himself, though, does he? The way he comes out he's come out of the press and said he's going to leave. Then this time last season, he said that the Saints players are always concerned when they take the lead because they know what's going to happen next. He needs to be a bit better media trained from the remaining time he's here, because when you say stuff like that in the press, the fans are always going to get on your back because they'll question your commitment, they'll question your mindset. So he's going to have a 10 out of 10 performance every game, rightly or wrongly, for the fans to actually trust him. Because, like Ollie said, Ollie thought that Ollie didn't think he had a great game. I didn't think he had a great game. But is it subconscious us thinking that because he says what he has in the press, his mind isn't in it? That might not be right, but he's put that down himself in our minds.
It's a natural bias you have. Like, everyone has a bias, however slight or big it may be, and it's because your own personal opinions. Everyone's got an opinion, and all of those opinions get reflected on what happens. And I may not give Cedric the the break he deserves because he hasn't shown himself to me as a player I can particularly get behind. At least I think the reason why Højbjerg's been given a lot more chances than he should be, and probably why he got given the captaincy, is because he came out and gave his passionate speeches and all those, and everyone said, right, that's someone who cares. Let's put the captaincy to him. But now those things are fans are kind of seeing through it now and saying, if he's not having a good game, he should be coming off. And has he actually got the experience to be able to command that team? Because we keep going behind leads. Who's actually spurring that team on, or are we having the same sort of mistakes? A final kind of thing that we went through, again, that Stevens chance that we talked about earlier, being kind of played back but going out for a throw, and I think it went for eventually. So again, not taking opportunities. And as an overall impression, it looked like the same sort of thing. Not taking our chances up front. We had 2 shots on target the whole of today. Not taking our chances up front, not being solid in defence, and not getting a result at home. It's something we've seen before, and again, another disappointing result, walking away, mounting even more pressure onto the next one. And you wonder how long this is going to go for. I mean, I'm hoping, as an optimist for Saints, I won't go slagging them off on Twitter. I won't go slagging off anyone personally. I want us to do well, but I'm getting more and more concerned by the week because we're seeing the same mistakes, we're seeing the same patterns, and I am generally getting worried about the future of this club in the Premier League. I don't know if you guys feel the same or you reckon we can turn this around, but I think with every loss that we're receiving, I've become less hopeful. I generally do believe that.
I think fans need to be patient. I think that it's obvious that we've shown over the last year that we do have the quality to be a mid-table team. The players that we currently have do have the quality to be a mid-table team. But the problem is that the confidence of the players is so low right now.
Yeah.
It's obvious that we're going to be a relegation team. And it may be the fact that they don't want to run, or maybe it's the fact that they don't want to run because of the manager, or because of the fact that they don't want to make a mistake. Maybe due to the fans, they don't want the fans to get on their back. But you just have to be patient. The club has been run awfully over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Last 5 years, we've had horrible transfers. We've had lots of sackings. We've had lots of different players who don't fit systems. Put into it, and we have to learn from our mistakes and the fact that we can't, because Puel, who wanted to play possession football, Pellegrini, who wanted to play defensive, Hughes, who didn't actually have a style, and now we've got someone who wants pressing football. So Ralph is having a very difficult job with players that don't fit his system. So he needs time, and it's whether he wants to have the time if we do get relegated. It's whether he wants the time to actually be at the club and try and build something, or if he wants to go back to Germany and actually have some sort of higher tier job. So it's completely down to him, but we have to back him. We have to back Ralph. It may not be the same set of players that we're going to be backing next season. A lot of these I could actually see going, or being sold, being released. It's our job to back Ralph. Hopefully the board will back Ralph.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a massive rebuild. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, with this, it's either you stay up and we battle for relegation for a couple of years, and the next 5 years we're going to rebuild the whole club, we're going to rebuild the squad, and hopefully that will keep us pushing forwards. Or we're going to go down and we're going to have a massive rebuild in one season. It's going to be one of the
us, yeah.
And so, we just have to be patient. Things aren't going to turn around instantly. Watford and Norwich, the wins there, they weren't going to turn us around instantly. We're still going to be battling relegation until the end of the season. It's just how it's going to happen. And so you have to be patient. You have to be supportive. And I know I've rambled on quite a bit there.
Very wise words. I was just going to say that there's common themes within the league. We see it every year. A team that do well immediately from promotion because they're uncertain. People don't know how to play. People like Sheffield United, people like Wolves last year, doing well because they're uncertain. But it seems like now we've been the Premier League for how long now? 5, 6 years?
7.
Maybe more, 7 now. Wow.
7, nearly 8, yeah. I was gonna say.
When you look at teams like us that came up at the same time, I think West Ham were the most identical team like us in the fact that we've been up for a certain amount of years. We haven't stuck with one manager like a Bournemouth, like a Burnley. So we don't have a direct style. And we've just got outcasts from all these different types of managers. And unless we kind of build a particular style around a manager, you're just going to have that uncertainty keep coming through how many managers you sack. And I just think, like Mikey said there, summed it up brilliantly. If you actually get a whole squad of players, even if it's just 11 full players that 100% work for the manager and understand the style, you'll just see it turn around so much because you see people in the best. So Jurgen Klopp took how many seasons? 1-2 seasons to get his team right where he wants them. Same with Pep. Same with anyone who's doing well at the moment. They take a bit of time just to get that team exactly where they want them, and then you get the performances. And we've just been cutting and going through all these different players and managers. And once we find 11 or 18 that fully suit Ralph, we won't get the best of the potential. So it's just the odds and ends.
With the Liverpool and Man City teams, the amount of players they got rid of was unbelievable.
Exactly.
So it's now, that's the thing we haven't done yet. That's what we need to do.
But we can't. We're not that powerhouse, and we don't have that money to do that. So it will be slower for us, and it will take more time, and we need more patience. But that's for next time. We will do our preview on Aston Villa. We will go on.
Like, Man City came third, and Liverpool came fourth in Pep's and Klopp's first full season.
Yeah.
They were, I think, City were 15 points off the title. Liverpool were 17. And you look at them now, and they're two of the best teams in the country. So you have to...
In Europe, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be patient. You have to give Ralph a chance to actually put his system in.
Deal with their identity.
Yeah.
Thing is though, like, I play devil's advocate in the fact that they had the time because they won't ever, whatever's going to happen, they weren't going to come out the top 6, the top 8. Whereas this could get us. This isn't what I feel. This is just a general feeling that we don't have the time to allow a manager to do that. Because if we give him the time and it doesn't work and it backfires, we get relegation and we can become Stoke, where they thought they could do a rebuild, didn't, and now they're stuck in the relegation battle of the Championship. So,
but then what's the solution then? Get Allardyce in and have him keep us up for a season and get rid of Ralph. Because what is the other option there? I'm saying Ralph has got to be backed and let him build his team. I don't know what the other solution is there apart from, get another manager in and hope he can turn it around, which that's not necessarily likely to do so.
That's the thing. That's what's difficult about it. But there's no guarantees that Ralph will stay if we go down. There's no guarantees that this rebuild will happen in the first place. So all I'm thinking is, yes, Manchester City and Liverpool gave their managers time, but they're also managers that won silverware and have a proven track record. Ralph does have a proven track record, but he has a proven track record at top clubs to rebuild stuff, whereas we're not a top club that doesn't have a big budget. Maybe, I want Ralph to stay. This is just me thinking outside the box. Maybe a different manager would change that up, and that's probably why a lot of other people want a different manager. I'm happy to stay with Ralph at least till the end of the season because I'm a patient person, but I look at the people that aren't patient. I think, I'm not surprised they're not patient because things aren't going the right way. And in the past, when they've not gone the right way, we've changed it up, and it's sort of worked.
So final question for you then, and we'll finish it on this. You personally, would you be happier to wait and let Ralph try and turn it around, or do you think it would be more beneficial for us to start looking for a new manager to be able to turn it around, just for the overall better for the club? What's ever best for the club?
I'd give him 12 games until the last 12 games of the season, because if we're still in a very dodgy state, actually no, it's difficult because I still think that he can turn it around.
Right.
So yeah,
go on then. What would you say?
Did you say to enter the end of the season?
I'd give him to the end of the season, and then we'd have to look at what everything looks like then. But
so that would be waiting then, wouldn't it? You'd be waiting for Ralph to try and rebuild it near the end of the season, because I think February, March onwards is where you're in real danger and the relegation battle really starts. So for me, it would have to be, you'd have to start looking now and saying, are we backing Ralph? Are we backing Ralph in January? Because if we don't back Ralph in January but still hope for him to turn it around near the end of the season, I think that could possibly be even worse. So you've either got to decide soon. You've got to say, are we backing Ralph? Are we sticking with it? Or are we going to make the same mistake and sack and then try and get a new manager to turn this team round with even more odds and ends around this thing? So for me, it's definitely stick with Ralph and back him in January because he's the best manager we've seen so far. I think that's what you've got to do. That's my opinion. It's just an opinion. But we'll finish it there. We'll do our preview to Aston Villa. We're going up to it, so we'll try and do something around that as well.
I'm going to vlog it, boys.
Jamie's going to vlog it, apparently.
My driving.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. Maybe
just don't count on a fast turnaround.
We could try and do a reaction straight after the game, or maybe we could get some other people's reactions.
There's a shopping centre right around the corner, so we can go into a restaurant or something like that and do it there.
Yeah, that'd be good. We can try that out. But so stay tuned for that. That will be preview going out Friday morning, and then reaction will obviously be after the Aston Villa game on Saturday. So thank you very much for listening. We do our reactions on our questions. Tiz, how can they get the questions in?
Saints Prime on the Instagram. You can do it right there if you want to.
Yep. Thank you very much. And then also Saints Prime Pod for instant notifications for when the podcasts go live, direct links to your favourite podcasting host, and obviously news and things like that as well, now with the Big's Head Media Network. So thanks for them, and have a look on the Twitter because you also got the merch. Look at the merch, check the merch out. It does look pretty sick, to be fair, so have a look at it, see if you like it. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again next Friday. See you later.
Bye.